We'll be live in a few seconds. Okay, I think we're live. So good afternoon, traders. Welcome to the New York session. Quick reminder, these sessions will be free until the end of this week. So you still have 3 more days. Please share the news. There are a lot of traders who don't know that we are doing this session live. Surprisingly, it's some of the traders who follow me very often. And I was talking to a trader today who pretty much was surprised that the live session started, and this is a trader who's been following me for years. So I post the reminders out. I don't know why people don't get them anyway. So it's up to you guys. Please help share it. It will be very nice of you. There's a small 48-second video that we post out on Facebook. On YouTube. If you can go and watch that one and share it, it will be very good because you might help somebody to realize that these live sessions are on and they can join us if they wish to. So let's go. I'll start from the top. I'll go through all the majors. And then I'll go through the trades we were in, and I'll show you what we do with them, right? So dollar index, pretty much pulled back. It pulled back much deeper than I expected. So we didn't break the low, right? Remember, now we don't have, in this case, you don't really have to break the low, right? Because the low of the first impulse is this one, right? All of this we're taking as an expanding flat within that structure. So what we would see is how this behaves at the bottom here. There is a chance it's going to drop one more. It's not a sell setup anymore because risk to rewards is not in this trade. We're not expecting it to really drop very far. So we're not trying to sell it. We just want it to break the low. And if it does break the low, we're going to take it to the upside. So the question is, what if it doesn't break the low? What if this was all the correction? This is the low and this is going up. Well, again, you would have to wait for that setup here before you get the trade. So if we get the setup, we'll take the trade. Silver. Nothing much. It actually came down, which is what we were waiting to see what it's going to do. It came down a little more. So structurally breaking out of this line doesn't mean anything, right? If we put it like this, just breaking that line by itself doesn't mean anything, right? This could, you see there, they made the correction like this. This could be a correction like those. This could be a correction like those, and we could still go back up, right? So if you sold this, and traders, that was a sell setup. Remember, we're looking for either a seller or buy this morning. If you sold that, you have to get it to break even. I don't think this is the one that is going to drop to the bottom. I think we're still in the correction, and there's a good chance we're going to make a new high. Now, I'm not looking at this as one single corrective structure because this is very corrective. This is very corrective. We do have a small flat in the middle here, but I don't think this is some kind of a running flat. I'm not looking at it as a running flat for that matter. I'm just looking at it as the separate correction, and there is a good chance that we could go break this top before it drops. Now, here's the thing. If it's going to drop from here, we would definitely need a better flag than this one to sell. But if you're in the sell already, just put it to break even. If you're not in the sell, we'll wait for a buy setup to this top, and then we'll take the trade. Gold actually is a sell. We had a sell there this morning. I don't know how many of you took it. And I said, remember, I said, if it becomes a flat, you put an entry here for the sell. Now, it's not going to go very far. That might be all it goes before it goes back up. So, because again, if you're looking at the structure this way, I don't think this is all the correction in the 1, 2, 3 possibility. I'm looking at this just like silver there, is that it's probably doing this for one more up, right? So structurally, the way we look at structure is that this would likely go one more up before you come down, if you're coming down. We don't know that it's coming down. If it is going to come down, because I showed you the bigger picture also, right? We came from the top. So we came from this top. And this is the first move in whatever corrective structure we're about to make. So I think this would eventually go back up. And then from this point, it could go down. It could stay in this consolidation, or it could continue to go up. Those are the 3 options. And all of them are open because there is no other pattern in play, except coming back to the top here. So on the 15 minutes, if you're in this trade, if you took the sell, there was a flat. There was a sell set up there when we got the flat. I think somebody asked me about it this morning, and I was like, yes, this is a small flat for a sell. If you want to sell, you put the entry under there. From here, you put the entry here, and this is your trade. Now what you got to do is put that to positive, at least break even, because if this starts to go back up, you want to be out of that trade and you want to buy setup. And we don't have a buy setup. Can it drop a little lower? Yeah, it can drop a little lower. There's no, there's no rule to how low this can drop. So you can stay with it, and whenever you like the profit, you think it's going to turn, you can get out of the trade. For this session, I think we'll be looking for a buy setup. We're not selling that anymore. The sell is gone. We'll look for a buy setup when this starts to go back up. Euro. Okay, this dropped a little lower than expected. They all dropped a little lower than expected, right? So we had this, and we're not, especially from the top, I told you, we're not selling from the top to come down. We're waiting for this to go back up. So you can buy this two ways on the bigger structure, right? There are two ways we can buy this. Let me take this off so you'll see. Put it like this, right? There are two ways we can look at this. This would probably go one more up. We don't know how high it's going to go because this is pulling back, pulling back, pulling back. So at some point, you might just go to this level, come back here, make a running flat, and then go. So instead of buying the euro, which has a buy setup, one more up and then down, we'll buy the pound because the pound has a better setup for the buy if you're not in the buy of the pound as yet, right? We probably could buy silver if we get a setup from here to go. We probably could buy gold if we get a setup from here to go. If at some point this stop starts going up back, we will buy the gold. Any sell here will have to be getting another flat or another flag. So the buy would be gold, silver, and pound, not euro, because euro, we don't know how high this can go. You're already at the top of a structure. These are lower. These are coming from the bottom of the structure to go up to break the top. This is coming to go break the top. Aussie, where is the, pound? Pound trade. We're in this trade already that I took this morning. We got in here, we got tagged, and I told you we will keep the trade either to this top or watch it goes back up. This would be more like that. So if it had come back to this level and stay here, we would close it. It didn't do that. So you never close it in the first pullback. So let's suppose this is going to go down, right? Let's just say this is not going to go up anymore, right? It's not going to go break the top. It's going to drop and break this low. Now, the way you would sell this is you would wait for this to make a flag here, right? And when it makes that flag, for example, this one, see? This make the flag, it drop, it made a flag, it drop. So when this makes the flag, if I see this as a sell setup, then I would close that trade for a very small loss. A much smaller loss than the entire stop. The only way this takes you out is if it keeps going very sharp to the downside. Right? Then it takes you out. Most times, and if it keeps going up really fast, the trade is still valid. Now, if you're not in the trade, the question is, should you put an entry above the top here? And nope, that's not a good one because now there is no risk to reward. This trade from yesterday, which we close and re-enter, is a better trade with the risk to reward there. From here, this is all we're expecting it to do. So there's no risk to reward. But here's what we can do. Let this go up. And if we get a flag here, we'll take the trade from here. We'll put a stop here and we'll go for this one. So you will end up with a better risk to reward in this trade. Right? So we will look at that just like I did in the New Zealand to the downside, right? I'll show you that one immediately. The New Zealand, right? So we saw this morning as corrective to go down. And I think it will probably just come and break this low. I expect it to probably just break that low and go back up because this whole structure is corrective. So it's a very small trade. I took the trade in a smaller flag on the 15. I took this trade in this small flag that it made here. Put an entry here, put a stop here, because if they break this top, I'm out of that trade. Totally. Actually, I'll be buying it if it breaks that top. And let's see if this can go and break the low. It's kind of consolidating in the 15, so nothing to worry about. Those are 15-minute consolidation. On the hourly, it has to stay there for at least 3 hours before I close the trade. So 1 hour tax, second hour there. If the third hour doesn't break the low, close the trade. So I'll probably close the trade if it doesn't go, right? If I think this is going back up from here, we'll close the trade for definitely not there. We'll close it for much less because we'll be looking for a buy setup. And the buy setup, if you're going to be buying this to the upside, two ways you can buy it. If this one doesn't drop and break the low, this becomes the consolidation for upside. Your entry for the buy goes here. If we break out of that structure, we're totally going up. This is an upside structure. We spoke about that already this morning. That this is going to go up one more. The bigger trade is to the upside, breaking this top. So you can actually put the buy setup here now. That buy setup is valid if this is a flag or a flat to go up. It's kind of a small flat to go up. If this drop more, and I think it can drop and break this low, this is the small trade we're going for. Come back here, then what we would do is we'll take this out, we'll wait for this to go up, make a flag, and then take that flag to the upside. Right? We'll wait for it to go up, we'll get a flag, we'll put an entry for the flag, and then we'll go with that. And if we don't get a flag, then the entry goes above this top or wherever the last impulse is going to be in the 15 minutes. I'll show you how that works, right? Yen, the magic work, it did go, like I said, you should take this trade off. We spoke about that just before you guys came in. This is no longer the buy setup. If you got tagged and you take it off, the reason we took it off is because this looks more like a flat for downside. The depth of the pullback, right? This one came back pretty deep. This was deep. This one almost came back. Now, if you look at this, this looks more like a flat for one more down. So it becomes from a buy setup, it becomes a sell. We can either sell it from the last impulse, which would be this, put an entry for a sell here. Or if on the way down, we get any flag. If we get a 15 minutes flag on the way down, we will sell it, right? So we're looking for a sell on the way down, an entry here, a stop above this stop. Always keep the stop above the impulse. The target for this trade, if it starts to drop, is huge, right? We were expecting it. Let's say, for example, it does this. Just out of curiosity, if you get 1, 2, 3, right, then we sell it somewhere in here, which means we sell it here. By the time it breaks that low there to go back up, we will be able to close the trade. But I'm not looking for that one. I'm looking for this to come back and retest this low, which means I'm expecting a bigger trade to come and retest this low. That's the trade. If we get that trade, you make money. If you don't get that trade, then you manage all your trade for less loss than you probably are in, right? So let's see if this works. If it starts to consolidate here, we'll come back and see if we want to buy. Right now, it's not a buy. So we'll change this. We're looking for a sell setup. And let's see this. CAD, we didn't have anything in the CAD this morning. We still don't have anything. We actually broke the stop, which makes this a little difficult now because we haven't dropped way beyond these lows as yet. So I don't think this complete that pattern. We'll just wait and see how it's behaving, because with this one and with that sharp wave, it would have been good if we had broken the low. Now, can we go with this as the pattern and an expanding flat in the middle? I think we can. This move is going up really slow. So there's no buy setup still. Just leave that alone. Swiss, this is the one. So this morning I told you we want this sharp wave to go back up, one, because we got this. Be careful of selling here. This is going to make a sharp one. And when it makes a sharp one, if it starts to drop, this is the safest trade you can get, right? Now, it either is going to drop, and that will be your trade, which means you're going to get a move down like this, or it's going to consolidate here and go up. It's not going to tag you if it consolidates, so you'll just take off the entry. That is what makes running flat very safe to trade. Because if it is a running flat and you're right about it, it's going to drop. Now, the distance between here and here is about, that's 62 pips. So you don't have to put the entry order at 62 pips with the stop there. You actually will take it much higher. So we're going to look for a flag here in the 15 minutes, and we're going to take that trade down. We can be wrong about it, but that's an aggressive trade, and that's the way we trade it. The stop for this trade will still be here because you're only wrong when they break that up. Right? It's no longer a running flat. But if it starts to consolidate here, when it tags, you will close the trade because this flag will get bigger and then we'll still buy it. So right now, I think it's a running flat. One more down, that's a sell setup. So that is for all the majors. Now we'll come and we'll look at trades that we actually had on. We had the CAD Yen, which I told you, let it pull back, then we'll sell this morning. So yesterday we sold this. It dropped, it pulled back, we closed for break even because it didn't drop true to the trade we were looking for. When this was coming down this morning, on the 15th, some traders sold it. I showed you that one, some trade. But I said when it comes here, actually before breaking that, we should close it. But if you kept it and you close it anywhere here, it's okay because now we're looking for this to be the running flat. Can it be more complex than that? This is still a sell setup. I still expect this to drop. Here's the thing. Can it be a more complex pattern than that? Which means this is not a small flat within this one, but this is part of the correction, which means it's going to come back here, go back there, and then drop. We'll still sell it. We sold it yesterday. Break even, we'll sell it today. If it's break even, we'll go with that. So as soon as this turn, and it could turn anytime now because we broke the low already. So this could be the running flat. As soon as we turn and we get a flag like that, we'll sell it. We want it to go up, drop, make a flag here, and we'll sell that flag. Any smaller flag like this, we'll still sell. Any 15-minute small flag, we'll sell it. We'll go for the sell. Pound Yen, we are waiting for a flag when it started to drop. So if this is the top without breaking that one, we can go for the sell in this flag. It's a little risky because we didn't break the top like yesterday. Yesterday, we managed to get up for break even from that one. So we'll do exactly the same thing. We will take this one. And if it drops and break through this low and don't go, we're going to put it to break even. Remember, this will eventually drop. The only question is this going to drop now? Or is it going to take more? I don't see them dropping now because this move down is pretty sharp. So what I see happen is them coming here again, going back up, making that flat, then drop. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that when it comes down here, it doesn't tag you. You got to make sure you're staying out at least one spread away. Better if you're two spread away. So keep this entry a little away from that. And let's see if we drop through the bottom. The trade is not this little piece. We're not trying to catch that little piece. We're trying to catch the big trade all the way to the bottom here. So where would the stop for this trade be? The stop for this small flag has to be above this stop. Because this small flag is only valid for this trade here, right? This impulse, that flag there. But we will try to keep it all the way to the bottom because we are trading this here. Normally, when you trade this, you keep your stop above the top, but we wouldn't do that in this trade. We'll try to get it to break even pretty quick. So that is the entry. This becomes an active sell setup. Sorry, wrong one. Euro New Zealand. I think it's going to go to the top there. If you still want to keep this, it's still valid for the upside. That is breaking this top here and go here. It's not the best trade. I explained that this morning, but that's where we expect to go. I don't like the trade. We're waiting for it to go there and then we'll sell it. That's why we have it as a sell setup, not a buy setup, because we're not buying this. I'll take this off so that nobody puts the trade on because it's not a really big trade to the upside. Pound Swiss is a trade we are in. You should close that trade now. You should close that trade already because by rule, we will close that trade. And the entry order for this trade goes here now. Same trade, entry order here, stop here. But the first trade, you have to close it. By rule, we close those trades. Now, don't ask me why. You're going to learn that later on. We close those trades and we put the enter lower and it goes here. So it's still a sell. Pound CAD, well, this one actually, if I don't think any one of you have this trade, but I put this one on because we're going to show you how to manage these trades if they don't go as well, right? So this trade come back here. As of now, I'm still looking at this as a possible running flat, which means I'm expecting this to still go up one more. Now, if it doesn't go, here's what we're going to do. The stop for this trade is under this low here, right? This one with the stop for this is under this low, and we're expecting this to go back to the top, break this top. So if this starts to consolidate here, it hasn't consolidated. If it starts to consolidate, we'll close the trade here, we'll take that loss, and we'll look for the sell setup. Now, the sell setup would be a little dangerous because without breaking that top, I don't see them dropping. Where this would eventually drop, this entire structure here would eventually break down. Because if you look at the bigger structure, you'll see what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this one, right? You have an impulse down, you have an impulse up, you have an impulse down, and you're correcting here. So I think this should probably go one more there, and then we're looking for this trade down here, go back up there, come back here, and then this is the big move to the upside. So we want this trade here first. If that doesn't go, then you get out of that trade for less than you risk and look for the sell setup, but we don't have a sell setup. There's nowhere you're going to sell this just because of, one candle here. So we'll wait, we'll give it some time, and then we'll see if it actually goes up. If it makes a flag, if you're selling, you need a flag like this. Some of you remember we sold that and we sold this, so we wait for a flag like this. If we get something like that, something like this, which means this do something like that, then we will close this trade and then we'll sell it. The trade would be an entry here, a stop here, and this would be your target. So let's see if we get whichever way it goes. As of now, I'll leave that there to remind you and manage the trade. Natural gas, it's coming up now, and now we don't get the buy. When we wanted to buy, it was here and was here, but it broke the low. So I wouldn't buy it here because you have this. Always remember, if you get that, there's a chance you make a flat and you drop again. Now that it's broken out, any flag here, and if we're correcting this, two things we can look for. I don't think we're looking for this anymore. We're looking for the first impulse. We're looking for a correction and a drop. How deep it corrects here will tell us whether the upside continue or whether we just make something like this and drop. So if we're going to look for a buy setup within the correction, and that is a corrective structure, you want this to start to make a flat here, something like this. This is what you want. And if we get that, then we will buy one impulse up. It's probably going to make another one impulse up, make another one impulse up, and this becomes a sell. Now, sometimes it does that. Sometimes it goes really fast, make a deep one here, go to the top, come back to the bottom here, and then go. Let's see which one happens. You don't know what the corrective structure would look like. So we need a flag here before we can buy it. I'll put a flag for buy, and that's an aggressive trade. US oil, it's coming down. I want the sell. We wanted the sell yesterday when we put it here. We want to sell today. We just need a flag. They're very, very small 15 minutes flag. I wouldn't take them. We want a bigger one. So we want something like this. Even something like this would work, right? We want something like that, and we will go with a sell setup. Now, what if it keeps dropping? You can't just jump in the train because it's moving, right? You have to wait for the setup, right? This might drop on the 15 minutes. It does look like it has some flags in it. More of like small pullbacks, not really flags. So if we get something that is worth selling, I don't want these small ones. We want something a little more because you want an impulse that is guaranteed it's going to give you enough to exit for break even if it doesn't go right like this. If you sold that, if you put an entry there to sell that, you can get rid of the trade here. When you notice it's doing this, right? You can get out of the trade, put your entry here, which is what we did yesterday because we sold this. We closed that trade and we put it here. Once it starts to consolidate, because you see what happened, it goes back up. So if this comes here and it starts to do this, we'll just close the trade here, put an entry here and see if it goes back to the top. If it keeps dropping, you'll still be in the trade. So we'll wait on this. S&P 500, we have a sell setup. It's still valid. I don't think anybody's tagged in it, and I don't think it's dropping as yet. So we are under the last impulse, which is good. I think this is going up some more. You can see this is probably going to go up some more. If it starts to consolidate here a lot, we will have to let it make this one and then put the entry will probably still be here for the downside. All right, so it's still a valid trade for downside. We have the same one here. Yep. Keep this one here for now. Let's see if this goes up, break the top. I don't know if any one of you want to get an aggressive trade, which is an impulse like this. If you're lucky, it actually does this and then come back. That. Right? I'm not hoping, I'm hoping it stays within this range, so it gives us a better sell setup. That's an unknown. You don't know how high it's going to go, right? So we'll keep it this. When this breaks the top, we're going to move the entry up. We didn't trade this because this was already pretty high. It's already pretty high, but this is coming downwards, right? Which is good. Right? See, this is coming down. So if it comes back to this level and then go back up, that would be a perfect flat. With the top here, this would be a perfect flat for the sell. So while the other two are going up because the impulse is huge, this has a smaller impulse, but this is coming downwards. So the flat, you actually want this to come here. Basically, if you're trading, you want this to come here and break the low. You wanted to break the low slightly, and then you wanted to go back up and then trade the running flat, like we did in the CAD Yen. And this becomes a safer trade to the downside. So we look for that. DAX, this was a buy that you're tagged in. By rule, you close that trade. See? By rule, it stays there. We close that trade. You put the entry above the top. Remember what I told you this morning when we closed the first trade? That is this one. We close that for positive. We put this, you close this for positive, and you put it above the top. But if anybody, especially new traders, remember what I said. If it becomes a channel, we stop buying it. Right? If this becomes a channel, you stop buying it. So that is a channel. Take that buyout. I'll explain that later. 1 second. Let me just take this. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Yes, let's go. So this is what we have, right? When you get a channel like that, two ways you're looking at it. That is either a running flat for upside, or it is a channel for downside. Structurally, they don't differ from each other. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Very rarely you'll be able to see a clear running flat or a clear channel. Most times when it's like this, you wouldn't know which one it is. Here's the thing. Trading it, in terms of trading it, you don't need to know which one it is, right? There are different strategies of how you're going to enter the sell or how you're going to enter the buy, right? So you would have to literally wait. For all the traders in YouTube, by the way, welcome. Glad you're here. And our traders who joined the session, glad to see all of you here. I notice more traders are joining. It would be good if you share the links and get much more people to join, because honestly, a lot of people who write me do regret getting access to my video a little too late with their accounts. So it would be good if you guys can share it. I'm pretty sure all of you know a group of traders somewhere that would like to have access to it, so please share it with them. So you take that out now. This is the second trade you're taking out for break even, because it's not going. If it's not going, you don't stay with the trade. You're not expecting it to magically go. Structurally, it's telling us this could drop. We don't have a trade for the sell. We don't have a trade for the buy. If we're going to trade this within the channel, this is what you're going to do. You're going to wait for this to come down. You're going to wait for this to come down here, especially if it does this. And then we will see if we want to trade this to the upside. See, this one was the one we traded, right? We had the entry above that top. This one was the one we traded. We had the entry above this top. We would like to get the entry order, but not above the top anymore. We'd like to get the entry order from here with a stop here. And by the time it gets to this stop, we can get it in the positive. And if it breaks out, that's a trade. If it's coming down back, we close the trade and we repeat the process. Because we're not trading it for this. We're trading it for the breakout. There's a bigger trade to the upside, right? It's all about which trade you're looking for. Let's go. Tesla. If anybody wanted to get aggressive, you still have the flat. It's still valid. You still have this small flat here if you want to trade it, only to break the lows of the pattern, which is this low, because when it breaks that low, we're expecting it to go back up, right? When this breaks the low, we're expecting this to go back up. So those are the trades we have on. This one, if somebody wanted to buy it, the entry order, the lower it comes here, the less you want to buy that, right? So you take this off because it's literally not going to give you a trade anymore. It will just break the top and drop. Those were the trades we looked at. So let's look at trades that Swiss yen. This is a possibility somebody is asking. This morning we said if we get a flag, we'll sell it. So you got a flag now, right? Remember, this is only going to come back to about this level. It doesn't have to break this low, because we're looking at 1, 2, 3, and then upside. So the trade becomes a different trade, and I'll set it up for you. The entry is here. The stop is above the top, because if it goes break that top, it's not. And the target would be somewhere here. Let's put it there, right? So it's more of a one-to-one risk to reward trade, right? And that is the trade we're going to go for. Entry, stop, target here. That's a small trade. After that, we're expecting it to go back up. So let's see if we can get this trade. In very rare cases, an expanding flat, and that would be very good for you if it becomes an expanding flat, which means it comes down here and then go. I don't think it's going to do that, because we're going to be looking at this trade here, this small impulse, small correction, small impulse, small correction, and then downside. Here is what you will do. If this goes up higher, if this goes up much higher to the top here, take it off. I might not be in the room if that happened, but if it goes higher back to the, take it off, because it will come back here, but this will become more like a flat, and that means it's going to go one more up. It could still go up like this, come back here, and then go. Right? There's many running flats like that. There are extended running flats as well. So it's valid as long as you stay within this range here for the downside. Sorry, guys. Aussie Yen. Aussie Yen, we still don't have a trade. It's still within the structure, the bigger structure, and it's at the bottom of the structure, right? When you're in a structure like this and you're at the very bottom of the structure, you're expecting this to go back up, but we don't have a buy setup as yet. As a matter of fact, it could drop a little more. I could see this drop. I don't think we're going to drop out of this structure as yet. Selling this, you will have to wait until it drops out of the structure to do that, right? Swiss yen. This one we're selling already. CAD Yen. CAD Yen, you have a sell set up already. I'm looking at this as a running flat. So all the yen pairs literally seems one more down. This one, we're going to be trading this to come back here and then upside maybe. So one more down for the trades. The stop for this one is right here, is above this stop now, right? So you're putting this stop there, you're putting your entry here, you're targeting this low. If it drops through, good for you. Actually, if it drops through, that'd be amazing. Right? So that is the trade we'll be looking for if it drops through. If we can get a trade between here, a flag between there, we'll sell it. I don't think we have any flag. So, and Pong Yen. Pong Yen, we already put the entry here, and we're trying to see how far this is going to go. If you just break the low and start to go back up, we'll close the trade. So let's go. Okay, let's see. Euro Oz. I'll go through the Euro. Let me go through. I'll probably go through all the Euro pairs. So let's start with Euro Oz. No trade at the top there. It's going up, but we don't have a trade set up at the top here. I'll show you why. This is the structure, right? This is what you have in the Euros, and you're at the top of that structure. So if you're looking at this, every time they come to the top, when you broke the top here the last time, see this? When it broke the top there the last time, it actually dropped back. When we broke the top here the last time, we actually came down back. So we're at the top. If it comes down back, we'll look for the sell, right? And then the upside. We really don't have a buy set. If you're going to buy above the top, you'll have to make sure that it consolidates. You'll have to make sure that you get a consolidation here. And then you expect this to go, right? Because right now we don't have anything that makes sense. Just let this one go and wait. Don't try to trade it there, because any buy there will be trouble, and we don't have a sell setup, right? There isn't a sell setup in it. If it starts to come down and give us a sell setup, we will definitely sell it. That is for Euros. Swiss, CAD Swiss. Okay, some of you came in late because we did the Swiss already, right? Swiss, we have a sell set up in it. It made the flat. This went the back as we expected. Let's see if we can get a trade from earlier, right? We'd like to get it from here. It's not really a flag. I want something a little more like this, right? We want something a little like that. So if we get a few more input corrections here, we will take this trade. We'll put the stop here, and we'll try to get it before it comes here. Right, so we'll try to get this trade before it comes there. Actually, the trade is a breakout because we have an entry order here for it. Right, that's the 1 hour trade. This is the 1 hour setup. Put an entry here, but we are looking for it to drop pretty deep. That's the 1 hour, but we can try to get it earlier in the 15 minutes. We don't have the flag. Don't try to just take this one. It's going to go back up. So wait for the flag. What else you want? CAD Swiss. We have the CAD Swiss to the bottom here, I think. We have CAD Swiss, let's see. I don't think we have any trade in the CAD Swiss. What's the structure? Oh, you do have a buy setup coming. CAD Swiss is interesting. Yeah, we can go for the buy. Look for a buy setup. You notice you're in a range, right? Kind of in a range here. And that range has to go out of it. It has to make a move to the top. So what you can do is wait for this to go up, make a flag here, and take that trade to the upside. Let's go in the 1 hour and see if we have anything. We do have an impulse. We do have an impulse here. So what you want is a consolidation in this range. And then you can take that trade to the upside. So keep an eye on this for the buy setup. I'll put that, keep an eye for the buy setup. When once the flag is there, that'd be okay. New Zealand Swiss, I think we have New Zealand Swiss here too. If you're going to sell this, it might be a sell setup. You'll have to wait for it. It's consolidating, by the way. It's already consolidating. So you can literally put an entry order for a sell here. Right? That is if this drops through the bottom. The only thing about this is you have to put the stop above here. That's the only safe place for the stop, and see if they give you a big move to the downside like this. If it stays in the consolidation, if this stays in the consolidation to go back up, let's say go back to that top, we'll have to wait for a flag here to buy. So right now, this is a sell setup for the drop. I think they can drop to the bottom. Go to the 1 hour. You do have a flag there. It's a small one. I don't see anywhere closer you can put the stop. Right? I don't see, maybe this point. That's the closest. You can't put a stop anywhere in here because I don't think they'll tag you and go back up, but just keep an eye on it. It's not the best trade setup, put it that way. There are better trade setups. So CAD Swiss, New Zealand Swiss, dollar Swiss, we got that. Swiss yen, we already looked at it. I think that one covered again. We just looked at it. So that trading low time frames, do you think pattern plays out in the same as higher time frame? Okay, well, that's an interesting question. Can you hold that question to the end of the webinar? I'll show you the entire structure. We're not really trading the lower time frame. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that one. Let's say on the dollar Swiss. We're not really trading the lower time frame. I'm still trading this trade. So this is what the trade I'm looking at. I'm looking at this flat. You see this one here? This would have been my trade. Put an entry here, put a stop here, and go for this trade. That is exactly what we're doing. Put an entry here, put a stop here, and we're going for this trade. But if I see this pattern complete itself and it's huge, which means if the span within that pattern is, if it's only 20 pips, I would just leave it alone where it is. But if we have 60 pips here, right? That's 60 pips. Between that 60 pips, it will probably make a flag somewhere within the 20 pip range. So if it comes down and make it small, it's never going in a straight line, right? You know that. It's still going to go down, but you might get a number of flags like this going down. So if it comes here and like this flag, see? If it comes here and make a flag like this, I still know it's going down. So it's the same trade, except I'm taking it here now. I'm putting the stop right there. And by the time it gets to where I want to enter, I can already put that to positive. And then wait, watch it, see if it drops to the bottom. Right? I'm still trading the higher time frame, but I'm just tweaking the entry. I hope that makes sense. Okay, we'll come to the cryptos now. So any more trades on we have already covered all of them, right? Good. So let's go to the cryptos. Somebody, I'll do Bitcoin, then I'll go to the one. Somebody want BNB and the AGIX. I think we finally found that one. Victor found it. So this is still going sideways, and I still think it will break the top before they go. So with this consolidation, I'll just let it go break the top and then look for a sell setup. Right? Let it break the top and then look for a sell setup. Because once you see that, you're thinking sell. And every time we see that, we saw it here, we saw it here. Every time you see that, you're thinking sell. Here's a good example as well. This is just a bigger one. But this would probably go up first like that, and then look for the sell setup. I don't know if you can afford to buy that. By that, I mean, I don't know what's your spread, what's your entry, how much you're going to cost you to exit it. So I think you have to be careful with that. ETH, same thing. I would even put it more like this. It's consolidating, and then it's going to drop. So there'll probably be more consolidation here, and then probably drop. Right? So that is what we're good. BNB, somebody wanted. We were thinking about buying it, but I don't think that's a great idea anymore, although it break the low because the depth of the pullback. Remember, I said if this one stays at the top here as a running flat, it's a good trade, but this already came pretty deep. So you're back at the low, which means if they go back there, you just have a flat, and that flat could probably drop one more. So it's not a really good risk to reward trade. Right? Then somebody wanted the one I couldn't find this morning. Let me see if I can find it. This, I think, is AGIX. We have it. Oh, we have it at the top here. Let's see. I think it's the same one I had this morning. No, it's a different one. So let's see the weekly. Okay, I'm not sure. Is this, if this is all the chart we have, we're in trouble. Right? I don't know if that's all the chart, but I can tell you in the daily, if that's all the chart, you're looking downside. On the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, you can actually, within this structure here, you can go back up to the top there, but then it's still downside. Right? So if I'm going to be selling this, I would wait for this to come back here. I'll wait for this to come back here. Make a flat there, and then I'll consider if I get a trade here to sell this flat. If it actually goes back to the top, that is even much better for you, because now you can wait for a flag like this here and then sell it. I hope that makes sense. Right? So you can either watch if it makes a flat at the bottom for the sell, or let it go back to all the way back to the top and then try to sell it. So I hope that helps. Somebody want Mana USDT. I think we have the Mana USD, which should pretty much be the same chart. I don't think there's a big difference to that. Okay, we don't have it here. We actually removed that. So I'm open this very quick. And let's see in the daily what it looks like. There's a very good chance this one is going to go down back, because I would probably put this as a running flat. And this might come back and retest the low before it goes, because we do have a sharp move here. On the 4 hour, that would be more visual. You can probably see it clearer. Yeah, that's a very sharp move. You drop, you make a flag, drop, make a flag, drop, make a flag. So this sharp move back to the top could possibly be looking at this as a running flat. And that means this could come back all the way to the bottom. So you might start look for sell setups. There's a very high probability of that getting back all the way to the bottom before it goes, right? And you can see the channel start with what we were looking at just now. We're just talking about those channels are running flat. This one turned out as a channel. It actually drops. You're actually getting a sell setup forming right now there. That looks more downside. Okay, we can't do too many cryptos, guys. We'll be stuck in cryptos only. We got that's. I know some of you trade your one crypto. We can't just train the whole webinar for only one crypto, right? So we're going to do the major cryptos, and I will take a few of them from you guys at the end of the session. But if we go into that, we'll just be stuck with all the cryptos. So let's go back to the trading. We're going to look at the trades we are in, the charts we're looking at, and then we'll come back and we can take some more, right? I think somebody wants soybeans. We'll come and look at that, right? I don't think that the whole room is trading soybeans, right? So we'll wait for the end of the webinar, and I'll put that on for you. Right? So these, Vic, can you keep those for the end? We'll do them. No, you can't send me a screenshot. If everybody send me a screenshot, we'll be stuck here until tomorrow. Right? Let's do it this way, right? If everybody send me a screenshot with their specific chart they're trading, we'll be stuck here way too long. Right? We have so many things to do. Not maybe at the end, very end of the webinar, we can probably take it. So let's go to back the trades we're looking at. The pound still pretty much, let me put it back on the 1 hour, sorry. Still valid as of now. It's either, in this case, it's either going to come down, take you out, or it's going to go back up or consolidate. In this case now, if we get this come back here and give us a flag in the middle here, we'll take it from here, right? Those who are not in the trade. If you're in this one, then we'll wait until it comes back. If it goes like this, we close. If it goes up, we take. So nothing to do here. We'll just leave it for now. New Zealand, I'm in this one. It's not going anywhere as yet, but it's still consolidating. It's still 1 hour, right? I don't have any reason to close it as yet, right? If it doesn't break, if this one doesn't break, then the next hour I'll use to close it. Yen, we don't have anything here as yet, so we'll wait. This one, we've ignored the buy because of the depth of the pullback, so we'll wait and see. If it's going up, it's more of a flat for downside. And if it's going to go up, you'll wait for a flag above here and then take the trade. CAD, we don't have anything. Let's see. Swiss, we still have this. It's only going to be either we get a 15-minute flag somewhere here and we sell it, or if this one at any point consolidate in this range, we'll ignore this running flat and we'll look for the buy. But that is not going to be a trade today. That'll be about 8 hours consolidation, so it'll be by tomorrow. Swiss yen, it's a trade that we just put on. It's valid. As long as this consolidation stays here, it's a valid trade. CAD yen, we put this entry order here. Let me see what it looks like on the 15. So it's still valid. Nothing changed in the structure, right? So this top line doesn't really mean anything. What we're looking at, for those who probably don't know wave analysis, we're looking at this, and this. So downside is really, this could come down. So the entry is here, the stop is here, and we're targeting way down to the bottom of the trend, which is this one here. Hong Yen, also a trade to the downside. So if the yen drops, then all these yen pairs will drop. Right? If the yen goes up, then they will all go a little higher. Because remember, the major is also pushing it. Euro New Zealand, we're waiting for this to get to the top. Let it get to the top there, then we'll sell it. It's a move to the top, but we don't have a great entry. If we get a flag here, if this actually stays here and make a flag here for a long time on the 1 hour, we will take this flag with a stop here and we'll go for this trade, because then we will get risk to reward in the trade. Right? That trade will give us risk to reward. But without the flag, you wouldn't be able to get risk to reward, because your stop would have to go pretty much low somewhere here. Right? The stop would have to go much lower. Euro Oz, I think somebody asked about this. Nothing much on it. Stay away from it. Euro Pong, let's see. Nothing. Like I said, I'm not taking the buy. If you take the buy, get it to break even. Let me see how many hours is there. Good. It's just there for 2 hours now. No need to worry. But I'm not taking the buy, right? We looked at it this morning. I don't like the buy. The structure is not the way we look at it. This is still a sell setup. I think we'll consolidate some more here, but that's still a sell. Punk CAD, we look to exit it, right? If this stays here, if it stays here, we'll exit it. If it goes, we'll take that trade off. Right? So we'll see which one it does. This is similar to what the pound dollar is doing. Pound Oz, we don't have a trade. It's back at the top, so we'll have just as similar to the Euro Oz, right? We don't have a trade in it. And natural gas. Now we can go for a sell, but you want this to consolidate more. You want it to literally do this, and we will go for the buy, and then we'll look for the sell. All right, so let's see how deep it happens. This is consolidating. This is correcting this move upwards for the sell. We might be able to buy it as well. Right? And let's go. No, you didn't miss the US 30. We didn't put any trade on the US 30. We were actually putting a sell on the Nasdaq, and we're putting a sell on the S&P 500. Right? So they're consolidating here some more. I think this consolidation here is going to go a little upside. I think this is going to go up there. Like I said, this is the impulse. This is the impulse. If it comes pretty high to this level, it's still a sell. If it goes back higher than that, we'll take the trade off. If it goes higher, then we'll wait for it to come back, and then tomorrow we get the trade to the upside. Right? Tomorrow it will be a flat, and we'll get a trade to the upside. We don't have the flat as yet. So right now, we're only hoping that this trade drops from where it is, which is it comes a little higher like this, and then drop. That would be the perfect setup. The sell is valid. Let's see if we can get it. DAX, if you're in the DAX, we closed it. We closed it once, we closed out, we closed 3 times, you take it off. This is off now. Tesla, if you want to sell, it's still valid. It's a very short 15-minute trade, and it's only to get to the bottom of this one. Entry here, stop here, get to the bottom there. That's a really small trade. Let's go. Okay, now we can take some more of the odd ones that we don't have. When you draw this circle in yellow, this is a flag. I might be drawing a circle in yellow. I don't even know. I probably, you mean this one when I do this? Yeah, that's what, but that's not, the circle doesn't mean a flag, basically. If I did it, it's an unconscious thing I'm doing, not really taking it serious. So normally it would be an impulse, and a flag would be something like this. Well, there are flags on 1 hour, there are flags on 15 minutes. A flag is just a smaller correction, put it that way. Are you waiting for a particular number of candles? No, there's no thing. In time and experience, you'll learn that there's no mathematical calculation to that. Remember, it all so that you guys don't think it's that simple. It depends on where the bigger structure is going. I think I just explained that on the Swiss. We have to make sure that we're looking for a bigger impulse in that direction, right? So we're always trading for the 4 hour, 1 hour impulses. And then if I'm going to take the trade in a 15-minute, I'm just tweaking the entry to get in at a better entry. And I will only do that if I think the range for the 1 hour is that. It's not simple, guys. I can explain that to you every day here for the next week. You're still not going to get it. Ask my traders. They're with me for years. And sometimes even the entry will still baffle them, whether that is a good entry or not. But with time, because we do this every day, 5-6 times a day, you're eventually going to get it if you join our group, right? Or even if you join the installment program. Ask those traders, they're doing pretty well. I actually did a one-on-one with one of them not too long. He is finally making money in his account now. And it's only when he joined the installment program that he started making money. So definitely. Well, one trader on YouTube is going crazy. He said there's no money in this. I'm not sure. This is what he said, basic right there. Very, very. Here's the interesting thing with these guys. I actually like the trolls when they come, because they're trying to tell you that you should not be here, but they're here. Quite interesting, right? The trolls think you're very stupid and they're the smart ones. Actually, there's one of them who's been trolling me for about 4 years now, and he is in my group. He actually bought the course twice because I kicked him out the first time for stealing, and he got back in the second time, and he was pretty angry with me when he got in back the second time. He actually came in with a false name the second time, and he is telling people you should not go there, but he is staying here, and he was trying to use my forecast to do some other stuff on his own, which didn't work out well for him, right? So it's up to you. Use your brain. You can think for yourself. So what's the name of the troll? Can you give us your real name? You wouldn't? It shows right when people can't give their real name, but they're going to say something, right? They have a voice and they have an opinion, but they're not willing to give their name and show who they are and their opinion. I don't trust people like that. I'm here, right? Can I make a profit with $20 account? You can probably make about 10 cents. You can make a profit. I don't know if any broker will allow you with an account like that and what lot size you will trade, right? So if you trade one micro, you're probably going to risk how much? 10 cents per 10 cents per pip. So if it's a 50 pip stop and you put one micro, that's going to be how much? $5. Right? 50 by 10, 50 pip by 10 cents. Oh no, 1 cent, right? The thing of micro is 1 cent. I haven't traded micro for years. 1 cent for a micro, right? Anybody correct me if I'm wrong. Depending, right? It all depends. Now, you're not going to get rich with that because let's assume you became the best trader in the world and you can double that account every month, which is impossible, but let's say you can do that. You can double your account every month. You got $20, the next month you got 40, the next month you got 80. The next one, by the end of the year, you pretty much about somewhere close to about $1,000 only. Right? I didn't count it, but that's up. Now, after that, you're not going to double it because you're not going to risk the way you risk the $20, right? So trading has to be, it's a business. You have to have capital. That is the best choice. So here's the thing. If you don't, I avoid mentioning this to anybody, but we have one of my traders who completed my course. He's actually working with a hedge fund now, and he opened the option to my traders. If they want those who complete the course, they can take a demo account from him of $100,000. They can trade it. The rules are pretty strict how you trade it. It's very strict, but it's limited in that you don't have to take big trades. You don't even have to make profit. You're not paying for it. You're risking 0.25% per trade, which is very small, but very good, safe for you. If you make 2% profit, you're good. They will give you a live account, right? I think a couple traders in my group got the live account, right? So the best thing you can do if you don't have capital is you can learn to trade. If you really want to do this and you don't have capital, you should learn to trade, get the knowledge, and then try to get an account somewhere, right? There are many companies that give account, but I think they'd use it as a money-making scheme because they will charge you $300 and they hope that 90% of you who take the account fail. And there's a lot of them. I mean, there are many of them, but that's more of a money-making thing than reality. No, you have to be in my group to get access to that. That is a favor he is doing to traders in my group because he actually is in our group still, and he actually learned trading here, and he's working for a hedge fund, and he decided he's going to use that opportunity to help traders, right? But I don't think he can help the world. I don't know for a fact that he wouldn't give you one if you're a really good trader. Let's say you're a really, really good trader. Send me your account. I'll pass it over to him. And just maybe he would look at it and say, you know what? We actually want this guy to trade for us. So I can do that for you. If you have an account, a small account, but you've been doing really great with it, I can tell you the number one thing they look at is your risk management. If you over risk, forget about it. If you're risking too much, it's not going to work. If you risk 20% and make 100% every month, after a year, you will be $80,000. Well, that's a good dream, but you wouldn't get there, right, Alex? I think we both know that's not going to happen. If you make 100% every month, 20, 40, 80, 160. Yeah, maybe you can get to about that. You can calculate it. It probably will get you there after 12 months. But that's not going to happen because as the account gets bigger, your risk, how you risk will change. You can't risk 100% every time, right? So as you get the bigger account, you're up there, you will risk much less on the account. And nobody's going to make 100% every month, right? So it's not going to happen. I'm doing very well. I started years ago, but no money. Okay, depending on how well you're doing, you can, you can show your account. If you started with me, I don't know if you're in our group, if you're in a group, that's great, we can work. Impulse correction, impulse very hard. Not really. We show you that every day. It's not that difficult as you think. But I don't know. I can't say for you. Okay, just ignore the troll. You guys don't have to answer. There's always going to be a troll somewhere. If he continues, just remove him. Vic, if he continues, just remove him. He's just a nuisance. Go get a life, so don't worry with him. You guys don't have to answer. Do you recommend any prop firms? No, I can't recommend anybody. Definitely not. Yeah, just remove him if he's distracting people. He's probably the guy who's following me around all the time. Go spend some time with your family, my friend. It's gonna work. It's gonna cost you a better deal. If you don't like what I do, just leave. There are people who find it beneficial. So let's go again. I'll start from the bottom, go back up. Tesla, you can sell. How can you join my group? I need to you can send me a Skype message. I'll give you all the details. The Skype is always in the description of all my videos. Let's go. Don't worry with anyone. Let's move on. So this one's still valid, very valid. This one is a very good trade, right? So keep your eyes on it. Let's see S&P 500. This one is still valid. As long as it doesn't go to the top there, it's still valid.